Daniel had been walking for hours through the thick green forest. The air warm and heavy, the sound of strange birds echoing between the giant trees. His boots sank slightly into the mossy ground as he followed the narrow path toward a wide, crystal blue lake he had seen on his scanner. He was here to collect water samples for the research team back at base, nothing more. It was supposed to be a quiet day. When he reached the lake, he stopped for a moment, taking in the sight. The water shimmered under the twin suns, reflecting light like sheets of glass. A gentle mist rolled across the surface, making the far shore look dreamy and distant. Daniel knelt by the edge, dipping his container into the cool water. It felt peaceful, too peaceful. That was when he heard a soft splash. Daniel looked up quickly. From between the tall reeds, a figure stepped into view. She was unlike anyone he had seen before. Tall and slender, her skin shimmered with faint silver patterns that moved slowly, like clouds in the night sky. Her hair was long and fell around her shoulders like dark liquid. Her eyes, large, bright, and faintly glowing, watched him with curiosity. "Can I swim here?" she asked. Her voice was musical, but her words were clear enough for him to understand. Daniel blinked, caught off guard. "Sure," he said. Slowly, "The lake's big enough for everyone." She smiled faintly, but it wasn't the kind of smile he could easily read. It was part kindness, part challenge, and something else he couldn't name. She walked closer to the edge, her bare feet leaving faint ripples in the shallow water. Daniel watched her for a moment. He thought it was simple, just a local, an alien girl wanting to cool off under the suns. But something in the way she moved made him pause. She was too graceful, every step to measured, like a predator approaching its prey. "Nice day for a swim," Daniel tried to say casually. "Yes," she replied, glancing at him. "But swimming here is not like in your human seas." "What's different?" he asked, his curiosity rising. She tilted her head slightly, the light catching the silver in her skin. "You will see." Without another word, she stepped deeper into the lake. The water reached her knees, then her waist. She paused, looking back at him once more. It was the kind of look that asked a question without speaking. Daniel felt a strange chill run down his spine. As she waded in, the mist around the lake seemed to shift, almost like it was following her. Daniel's ears caught a sound, distant, low, and steady. It wasn't the wind. It was something in the water. He shook his head, telling himself he was imagining it. Maybe it was just the current. The alien girl moved farther in until the water reached her shoulders. Then, with one smooth motion, she slipped beneath the surface. Daniel stepped closer to the shore, scanning the rippling water. He expected her to resurface within seconds. But she didn't. A minute passed. Then another. Daniel felt his stomach tighten. No one could hold their breath that long. He scanned the water again, ready to jump in if he had to. When suddenly, the surface broke, not gently, but with a sudden, sharp splash. She rose from the water, her eyes brighter now, her hair streaming behind her. Her movements were no longer slow and graceful. They were quick, sharp, and wild. She swam in fast circles, sending waves across the lake. Daniel's heart started to beat faster. This wasn't just swimming. This was something else. "Are you okay?" he called out. She didn't answer. Instead, she dove again, disappearing in a burst of bubbles. The sound in the water grew louder now, deep and rhythmic, like a heartbeat coming from the depths. Daniel took a step back. Something about this felt wrong. Then the alien girl surfaced again, smiling this time not with warmth, but with a fierce, almost dangerous excitement. "You thought I just wanted a dip," she said softly, her voice carrying over the water. "But the lake, it's alive." The way she said it made Daniel's chest tighten. He looked at the calm, shining water and suddenly wasn't sure if it was safe to stay. Daniel stood at the edge of the lake, his boots sinking slightly into the damp soil. His heart was still beating fast from the alien girl's last words. The lake, it's alive. She floated near the center now, her silver-marked skin glistening under the twin suns. For a moment, she looked calm, almost serene then, without warning. She kicked hard and spun through the water in a sudden burst of speed. Waves rolled outward, splashing against the shore and wetting Daniel's legs. At first, he thought she was just showing off some kind of alien swimming style. But her movements were strange. Sharp turns, sudden dives, fast spins. It was like she was sending signals, not just swimming for fun. "Hey," Daniel called out, trying to keep his voice steady. "Are you?" Before he could finish, the water around her shimmered faintly, as if light was coming from beneath the surface. It wasn't sunlight. The glow had a deep, unnatural green color that seemed to pulse in rhythm. Like a slow heartbeat, Daniel's brows knitted together. "What is that?" he murmured to himself. The alien girl didn't answer. She ducked her head under, her long dark hair fanning out like ink in water. She stayed under for several seconds, then came back up, grinning, not a friendly grin, but something sharper, more dangerous. "You see it now, human?" she asked, her voice carrying easily across the water. "I see something," Daniel said, cautiously, "but I don't know what I'm looking at." Her glowing eyes narrowed slightly. "You're looking at the first sign of them." The words sank into him like a cold stone. The glow beneath her brightened, spreading out in swirling patterns. Daniel could now make out faint shapes moving below, sleek shadows that slipped through the green light. They moved fast. Too fast for him to get a clear look. Instinct told him to back away, maybe even run. But his curiosity held him in place. "What are they?" he asked. She tilted her head, half submerged, the water lapping at her chin. "Hunters, like me." Daniel's mouth went dry. "Hunters, in the lake." She nodded slowly. "The strongest of us must prove we can face them. If we fail, we die. If we win, we keep our place." Her tone was calm, almost casual, as if this was just a normal part of her life. Daniel glanced at the shifting shadows in the water. "And you're here to prove yourself." Her smile widened, the silver lines on her skin glowing faintly now. "Yes, and you are here to watch." Before Daniel could respond, she plunged under the surface again. This time, she didn't come up right away. The water churned, small waves lapping against the shore. Then whoosh, a dark shape broke the surface several meters away from her, its wet skin gleaming. Daniel caught a flash of razor-like teeth before it slipped back under. His pulse jumped. "Oh hell," he muttered, instinctively stepping back. The alien girl surfaced again, gasping once, but still grinning. "They're here." The green glow beneath them grew brighter, as if more of the creatures were gathering. Daniel could see them better. Now long, eel-like bodies with fins that shimmered like glass, their eyes glowing faintly red. They circled the girl in slow, deliberate movements, never breaking their formation. Daniel's instincts screamed that this was bad. "You should come out," he shouted. "This isn't safe." But she just laughed, a low, musical sound that sent a strange chill down his spine. "Safe is not the point." She dove again, vanishing into the glowing green below. The shadows darted toward her, quick and precise. The water boiled with movement. Daniel felt frozen, his eyes locked on the swirling chaos. He couldn't see her anymore, just flashes of silver skin and red-eyed shapes twisting in the depths. The sounds of splashing and heavy thuds echoed across the lake, then a sudden silence. The water stilled, the green glow fading slightly. Daniel leaned forward, scanning the surface. "Come on, where are you?" The calm broke with a violent splash as the alien girl burst from the water, flipping in the air before landing back in with a loud crack. One of the creatures shot up behind her, its teeth snapping inches from her shoulder. Daniel's breath caught. She turned in the water, her glowing eyes locking on the creature. "Not yet," she whispered, though Daniel wasn't sure if it was to herself or to them. The tension in the air was thick now, like a storm about to break. Daniel realized something important. This wasn't going to end quickly. She wasn't. Just going for a swim, she was calling them closer. And whatever happened next, he was going to see it all. Daniel's hands curled into fists as he stood on the damp shore, his eyes fixed on the glowing patterns moving under the water. The green light seemed to swirl in slow, hypnotic circles, but the shapes moving inside it were fast, too fast. The alien girl floated near the center of the lake, her head just above the surface. She looked relaxed, as if the strange glow was nothing unusual. But Daniel's instincts screamed at him that this was not a safe place to stand and watch. "You're telling me those things down there are hunters?" Daniel called out. "They are," she replied, her voice calm, but with an edge to it. "And they are hungry." Daniel felt the air in his chest turn cold. He took a step back from the water's edge, but his eyes didn't leave her. "Then why are you still in there?" She smiled faintly, not in a friendly way, but like someone who already knew the outcome of a game. "Because I am one of them." Daniel opened his mouth to reply, but before he could speak, one of the shapes moved upward, fast. It broke the surface with a sharp splash, revealing a sleek, eel-like body covered in dark, glassy scales. Its head was long, its teeth needle-sharp, and its eyes glowed a deep, unnatural red dot. Daniel froze. The creature didn't come for Hamet. Circled the alien girl instead. She didn't flinch. Another shadow rose from below, then another. Within seconds, there were 4 of them, moving in slow, deliberate loops around her. The glow from the depths seemed to grow stronger, as if more of them were gathering below. "Don't they attack?" Daniel asked, his voice quieter now. "They will," she said simply. "But not yet." Daniel swallowed. "And when they do," her silver-marked skin shimmered faintly as she gave a small, sharp smile. "Then I hunt." Suddenly, one of the creatures darted toward her. She twisted in the water, vanishing beneath the surface. The lake erupted into chaos splashes, waves, flashes of silver and dark scales. Daniel's heart pounded as he tried to follow what was happening. The alien girl reappeared, pushing herself up with a powerful kick. Water streamed off her as she spun to face another attacker. Her movements were too fast, almost like she was part of the water itself. Daniel stepped forward without realizing it. This isn't just swimming. This is some kind of ritual. "It is," she said, her voice carrying over the crashing water. "Every cycle, we face the lake's hunters. If we survive, we are stronger. If we fail," she didn't finish the sentence. She didn't need to. One of the creatures leaped fully out of the water, its jaws snapping inches from her shoulder. She ducked under it, her hand trailing through the surface before she disappeared again. The water churned violently. Daniel caught glimpses of her silver skin flashing between the shadows, the hunters circling tighter and tighter. Then silence again. The glow from the depths faded, leaving only the ripples of the disturbed lake. Daniel waited, his breath coming faster. "Come on. Where are you?" The surface broke with a sudden burst as she rose from below, pulling herself upright in the water. She wasn't smiling now. Her expression was sharp, focused, almost fierce. "They know I am ready," she said, her glowing eyes locking with his dot. Daniel glanced at the calm surface and shook his head. "You're telling me that was just the start?" "Yes," she replied. "Now they test me for real." And with that, she sank beneath the water again, leaving Daniel alone with the stillness of the lake and the growing certainty that the real fight was about to begin. The air felt heavier now, thick with the smell of wet earth and something metallic like blood carried on the wind. Daniel stood frozen at the shore, staring at the still lake. It was too still. The way a forest goes silent before a predator moves. Then it happened. From beneath the glassy surface, the green glow returned brighter, sharper, swirling into a spiral. The shapes below moved faster, weaving between each other like shadows in a storm. Daniel could count at least 6 now, maybe more. Their dark bodies twisting in and out of the light. The alien girl emerged from the depths, her chest rising and falling quickly. Her silver-marked skin glistened in the sunlight, and her eyes were lit with a dangerous energy. "They've decided," she said in a low voice that somehow reached him across the water. Daniel's throat felt tight. Decided what? Her gaze didn't leave the surface around her. "That I'm worth killing." The water erupted. 2 hunters shot up at once, their sleek bodies cutting through the air, jaws snapping. She spun sideways, the creatures missing her by inches before crashing back down into the lake. The force of their landing sent waves rolling toward Daniel, soaking his boots. She didn't hesitate. With a sudden burst of movement, she dove under again. Daniel could see her faint silver glow mixing with the green light below, twisting between the lunging shadows. The hunters attacked in pairs, trying to trap her between them. The water boiled with violence. Every splash was followed by a flash of teeth or the whip of a long tail. Daniel caught his breath each time one came too close. To her, she moved fast, faster than he thought possible, but the hunters weren't slowing down. They were her equals in speed, maybe even more ruthless in strength. Then one of them changed direction. Daniel's eyes widened as it swam not toward her, but toward the shore toward him. Its glowing red eyes locked on his position, and it shot forward like an arrow. "Oh no," Daniel muttered, stumbling backward. The creature broke the surface just meters from him, sending a spray of cold water across his chest. Its mouth opened wide, rows of needle teeth flashing. Daniel threw himself to the side, hitting the muddy ground hard. The hunter crashed back into the lake, but its eyes stayed fixed on him. Before it could lunge again, the alien girl rose between them, her body twisting in a powerful strike. Her hand clawed at the tips, slashed across the creature's side. A cloud of dark liquid spread through the water. The hunter shrieked, a high-pitched sound that made Daniel's skin crawl before retreating back into the depths. She turned to him, her breathing heavy. "Do not stand so close to the water. They smell your fear." Daniel scrambled back a few more steps, heart pounding. "I didn't think I was part of this." "You are now," she said, before diving again. The battle below intensified. Daniel could see her silver form darting between the green-lit shapes, each movement deliberate, each turn avoiding a fatal bite. But the hunters were adapting, closing in tighter. One shot upward, breaking the surface just behind her. She spun, grabbing its fin and using its own speed to fling herself over its back. In the same motion, she slammed her elbow down into its head, forcing it to sink. Daniel couldn't tell if she was winning or just surviving. The water was churning so violently now that it looked like a storm had swallowed the lake. Suddenly, she surfaced again, gasping. "They are calling more." Daniel's eyes darted to the far side of the lake. More faint red glows were appearing under the mist. More? How many more? Her gaze was hard. "Enough to make sure I don't leave this water alive." The words hit him like a stone. This wasn't just a fight, it was an execution. For the first time since the encounter began, Daniel realized something else. If she died here, he would be next. And as the green glow below shifted into a full, swirling ring around her, Daniel knew the real fight was only beginning. The water's surface rippled in every direction now, as if the lake itself was breathing faster. Daniel could see them red glows under the water, too many to count. The green light swirled like a living storm, and in the middle of it, the alien girl floated with her head high, her silver-marked skin shining against the chaos. He wanted to shout for her to get out, to run, but something in her stance told him she wasn't thinking about escape. She was waiting. Then they came. 4 hunters shot up at once, their dark, eel-like bodies twisting through the air. Their jaws opened wide, teeth glinting under the twin suns. She ducked under the first, spun away from the second, then drove her knee into the side of the third. The fourth came from behind, but she turned just in time, locking her arm around its neck and dragging it under the surface with her. The lake roared with sound splashes, thrashes, the low rumble of something deep below. Daniel's pulse raced as he tried to follow her movements. She was fast, but so were they. Every time a hunter missed, it came back harder, faster. They worked in pairs now, trying to trap her from both sides. One lunged for her head, the other for her legs. She twisted through the gap between them, spinning so sharply that her tail he hadn't noticed she even had one before lashed across a hunter's snout, sending it reeling. Daniel's breath caught. This wasn't random flailing. She was fighting with skill, with precision. She knew their moves before they made them. Then one of the hunters broke away from the fight and turned toward the shore again. Not this time, Daniel muttered. Grabbing a long branch from the ground, the creature burst from the water, snapping its jaws. Daniel swung the branch hard, smacking it across the head. It let out a guttural hiss and slipped back beneath the surface. His hands shook from the impact, but he forced himself to stand his ground. The alien girl surfaced near him for only a second. "You fight too," she said with a sharp grin before diving again. Daniel wanted to tell her he wasn't here to fight, but maybe now he was. Under the water, she faced 3 hunters at once. They came at her in a triangle formation, fast and coordinated. Under the first, grabbed the second by its fin and used its momentum to slam it into the third. The water exploded into foam, and for a moment, Daniel couldn't see her at all. When she rose again, she was holding something, a long shard of bone, jagged at one end. It must have come from one of the creatures. She spun it in her hand like a blade, her glowing eyes locked on the nearest hunter. The next time it lunged, she didn't dodge. She met it head-on, driving the bone shard deep into its neck. The water turned dark around them, and the creature thrashed wildly before sinking. Out of sight, the others hesitated. Just for a second, but it was enough. She turned on the next one, slashing at its face, forcing it back. Daniel could see her chest rising and falling fast now. She was strong, but this fight was wearing her down. And the hunters. They didn't seem to tire. From the far side of the lake, more red glows began to appear. Daniel's stomach dropped. "She can't keep this up," he whispered, but the alien girl didn't back away. She looked toward him, even from the middle of the fight, and her voice carried across the water. "If they come for you, run." It wasn't a request, it was a warning. Then she dove again, straight into the center of the green glow. The hunters followed, and the water became a boiling, thrashing storm that swallowed her whole. Daniel gripped the branch tighter, his eyes locked on the chaos, praying she would rise again before the lake claimed her for good. The lake churned like a living thing, swallowing sound and light in its chaos. Daniel stood at the edge, clutching the long branch in both hands, his eyes locked on the storm of water where the alien girl had disappeared. Seconds stretched into what felt like minutes. Then, the surface split apart. She burst upward, gasping. For air, her silver-marked skin streaked with dark lines of blood. Some hers, some not. Her hair clung to her face, and her eyes glowed brighter than ever. The hunters circled around her, slower now, but not gone. Daniel could tell they were wary, but also unwilling to give up. "Why are they after you?" He shouted over the crashing waves. She treaded water for a moment, then turned toward him. Her voice, though tired, carried across the lake like a whisper meant only for him. "Because I challenged them. I told them I would take the place of the Alpha." Daniel blinked. "Alpha? You mean the leader of?" Before he could finish, the water near her erupted. A massive shape rose from the depths, larger, faster, deadlier than the rest. Its head broke the surface, showing a mouth lined with endless teeth, its eyes glowing a deeper, darker red than the others. Daniel took a step back instinctively. "That's the Alpha, isn't it?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. The Alpha let out a low, rumbling sound that Daniel could feel in his bones. The other hunters spread out, giving the two of them space, as if they knew this fight belonged only to her. She tightened her grip on the bone shard she had taken earlier. Her shoulders were tense, but there was no fear in her face, only determination. Daniel's mind raced. "This is why you came here. This is why you asked to swim." Her eyes met his for just a second. "I have to win, or I lose everything." Then the Alpha lunged. It moved with terrifying speed, its massive body cutting through the water like a blade. She dove under at the last moment. But the force of the Alpha's passing created a wave that nearly knocked Daniel off his feet on the shore. She reappeared behind it, slashing the shard across its side. The Alpha twisted violently, its tail smashing into her with a crack that echoed across the lake. She was thrown several meters through the water, barely keeping her head. Above the surface, Daniel's heart jumped into his throat. "Get out of there." But she didn't even glance at him. Instead, she steadied herself, took a deep breath, and swam straight toward the Alpha again. The two clashed in a frenzy of movement, diving, striking, twisting. "I see," aimed for its eyes, its gills, the soft parts under its jaw. The Alpha snapped at her again and again, missing by inches each time. Daniel could see she was slowing down. Her strikes were still precise, but her breathing was ragged. The Alpha, though wounded, didn't seem to tire at all. For a moment, she vanished beneath the surface with it, and Daniel couldn't see who was winning, or if she was even still alive. The water suddenly stilled. Daniel's chest tightened. No. Come on then. A shadow broke the surface. She rose slowly, the Alpha's head beneath her grip, her bone shard buried deep in its neck. The creature let out one final shuddering movement before sinking back into the depths, its red glow fading into nothing. The remaining hunters, as if sensing the change, scattered into the dark water without another sound. She floated there for a moment, breathing heavily, her head tilted toward the sky. Daniel stepped closer to the water's edge. You did it." Her eyes turned to him, softer now. "Yes. I lead them now." Daniel frowned. "You risked your life. For power?" She swam slowly toward him, her voice steady. "Not for power. For survival. If I am not Alpha, they will hunt beyond anyone with me until the end of my days." The words sank in. This wasn't about showing off. It wasn't about the thrill of the fight. This was the only way she could live without running forever. As she reached the shore, she stood up in the shallow water, her silver markings catching the fading light. "You thought I came for a simple swim," she said softly. "But I came here to change my fate." Daniel stared at her for a long moment, realizing he'd just witnessed something far bigger than a fight. She hadn't just survived, she had claimed a place in a deadly world, And now, whether he liked it or not, he was part of it. The forest around the lake was quiet again, but not with the peaceful calm Daniel had felt when he first arrived. This was a heavier silence, the kind that comes after a storm when the air still feels alive. But everything waits to see what happens next. The alien girl stepped out of the shallows, water dripping from her hair, her silver-marked skin catching the fading light of the twin suns. Her movements were slower now, each step deliberate, as if every muscle in her body had been pushed beyond its limit. Daniel took a step toward her, still gripping the branch he'd used earlier. "You need help." She looked at him, a faint smile forming. "You helped already. You stood your ground." Daniel glanced at the lake, where the green glow had completely vanished. "I didn't feel like I helped much." "You did everything out there." Her smile grew a little, though her eyes stayed sharp. "It's not about who fought the most. It's about who stayed." She stopped in front of him, close enough that Daniel could see the tiny scars across her arms. Some old, some fresh from today's fight. "Most would have run the moment the hunters showed themselves," she said softly. "But you didn't." Daniel shrugged awkwardly. "I couldn't just leave you." Her expression shifted, less guarded now, more open. "And now you can't leave me, even if you wanted to." Daniel raised an eyebrow. "What does that mean?" She tilted her head toward the lake. "The hunters saw you. They know your scent. If I hadn't killed the alpha, they would have come for you over and over until they had you." A cold weight settled in Daniel's chest. "So, you're saying I'm marked now?" "In their eyes, yes," she said. "But as long as I lead them, no hunter will harm you. That's my word." Daniel studied her for a moment. "And what does that make us?" Her gaze didn't waver. "It makes you mine." He blinked, unsure whether to laugh or be concerned. "Yours." "In my world," she explained, "the one who stands with the alpha in the hunt becomes part of their claim. You are under my protection, and in return." She hesitated, as if weighing her next words. "You stand with me." Daniel thought about it. He'd only met her a short time ago, yet he had seen her fight like a force of nature, risk everything, and win against impossible odds. She was fierce, dangerous, but also honest. "You really think I'm going to stay here with you?" He asked, her lips curved into a half smile. "You could leave, go back to your people, but they won't protect you from what saw you today." Daniel sighed, glancing at the still water. He remembered the way the hunters had moved, relentless, intelligent, and utterly without mercy. If she was telling the truth, his choices were stay, or live the rest of his life looking over his shoulder. "You're not giving me much of a choice," he said. "I'm giving you survival," she replied simply. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Then Daniel nodded slowly. "All right, I'll stay." For now, her eyes softened. "Then from this day, you walk as one of mine." She turned toward the lake, her posture straight despite her exhaustion. "The others will come to test me soon. When they do, you'll stand at the shore again, and you'll watch. Because next time, a hunt may be for both of us." Daniel felt a strange mix of dread and respect settle in his chest. Whatever life he'd had before stepping to this lake was gone. The moment he saw her dive into that glowing water, everything had changed. She looked back at him one last time, the fading sunlight glinting off her silver markings. "You thought I came here for a swim," she said quietly. "But now you understand. I came here to claim my place. And in doing so, I claimed yours." Daniel didn't answer. He just met her gaze and, for the first time, didn't feel like an outsider in her world. The sun dipped lower, casting the lake into shadow. Somewhere in the depths, unseen eyes watched, but none dared to surface. Not tonight, because tonight she was alpha. And Daniel was hers.